And that card changed my life. It was way before I knew PSYCH-K. And I just wanted to, sometimes my husband traveled a lot. I just wanted to kind of get away from my life, just to take a breath every now and again, just so I could find a sense of peace and calm in what felt like a constant whirlwind of activity and storminess. And I remember going into a bookstore and I saw this card on the catalog, and it said, "Serenity is not finding calm from the storm, but finding peace within it." And that card changed my life. It was way before I knew PSYCH-K, about two actually. I kept one at home and I took one to my classroom, and I always had it by my desk because it was a beautiful reminder that I need to be the change that I seek in the world, to use Gandhi's quote. So if I'm looking for peace, just like we talked about before, looking for money, looking outside of me for whatever it is that I feel will nourish and provide solace and soothe and invigorate, then I'm putting the locus of control outside of me. But really what PSYCH-K teaches us is that we are the key to our own transformation. We don't have to go find a key. We are the key. And so if what I'm yearning for is to feel safe in the world, in a world that when I look out at it, it feels frightening. When I actually had to, interestingly enough, at the start of this year, I don't watch the news, but I watched the news. And right after that, I was supposed to be teaching an online class, and my eyes swelled up. And they were painful and they were oozing, and it just didn't make sense because there wasn't allergy season. I hadn't eaten anything strange. It was what I saw was so painful that my eyes swelled up because it was too hard for me to see. Quite amazing. So what I had to do, what I did was and I did it during the workshop because my eyes were still really swollen, and I was demonstrating to the group how to transform the perception of stress. I told them that what I had seen on the news was so painful. The next day I wake up like this. So I'm going to transform my perception around what I saw, transform my association around what was on the news. And I did it right there during the workshop. And at that point, just one eye was quite swollen. And in real time, the entire group got to watch as the swelling just disappeared. And then when I opened my eyes and it wasn't painful anymore, it didn't hurt. And it just took a couple of minutes. They said, "Wow, you have such blue eyes. We couldn't see them before," because they couldn't. They were swollen and red and sore. And this is how quickly we can transform our fear, our worry. So that was just transforming the perception of stress. Then what do I want instead? To feel safe in the world. Like the world is a safe and friendly place. The world is a safe and beautiful and harmonious place. Weak. So to be able to balance for it comes back to the question we already talked about. What do I want instead? Even though it feels like, because I remember years ago when my daughter was in junior high school, we went into the city. The school I was working at was affiliated with the Dalai Lama's Center for Compassionate Learning in Vancouver. So I was the counselor. We got to take some of our students to this big auditorium where he was speaking. Jane Goodall was speaking. A number of different speakers were coming from around the world to talk to children, to talk to students about being part of being good and kind and compassionate people, essentially. So one of the young girls from our school got to sit on stage with the Dalai Lama. She was selected to be part of this little group of students. And when it came to be her turn to ask him a question, she said, "How can I change the world?" And I remember everyone, like there's 30,000 people. It's in the hockey arena. There's 30,000 people there. And I'm sitting beside my daughter, and we were both just taken aback by the bigness, the volume of her question. And he looked at her in that beautiful way that he has, and he smiled. He said, changing the world is too big a thing. He said, if you can hold compassion in your heart and positive thoughts in your mind, then that is the only way you or anyone can change the world. And that's what we do with PSYCH-K. When we look out and we see the storms circling around us, or far away or up close, how do I change that? By holding compassion in my heart and positive thoughts and beliefs in my mind. And so that always stuck with me. I'm getting goosebumps telling the story of it. It was so beautiful, so simple, and so profound. So sometimes when people come and they take the level 1 workshop, it's like, well, yeah, but I want to help that or fix that or change that. Well, how do I do that? Here. So when I believe I'm safe, when I believe that when I believe that the world around me is a beautiful, compassionate place, when I believe that I deserve relationships with the world, with my community, with my family, with myself, that are based in love, respect, honor, dignity, then it's incredible how that changes the world. So we borrow again from Gandhi to be the change that we wish to see in the world. How can I possibly be a peaceful person when all around me is not being peaceful? I balance for being the peaceful, being peace, bringing peace, sharing peace, embodying peace, attracting peace. So this is how I would say, this is how I work with when people here are displaced by the forest fires, when even people in California had the big fires that went through there, with what's going on in the world with natural weather patterns changing, with disasters, with wars. It's like, oh, those are such big things. How can I help that far away or that thing here? By changing my own internal dialogue and conversation. One of my horses is going to sound a bit strange, but when I was sitting with him, spending time with him, I just heard this statement come into my head, and his name is Tank. He's this big rock solid. That's the name he came with. He's just this big guy, very gentle, very kind. And I just heard, because I was sitting out there with him when it felt like the world was just chaotic, and it was so much, and in my personal world and in the world around me. And I just heard, be the rock that the river flows around, and be the river that flows around the rock. And so that's what I balance for. I am the rock that the river flows around, and I am the river that flows around the rock. I want to be able to be a shapeshifter. Sometimes I need to be anchored and solid, and then all the stuff just goes around me. And other times the stuff is not moving. So I need to be the one that flows around it. So I just, the wisdom, the teaching of horses, the wisdom of nature, it's all around us. That's the other thing. How do we stay connected and grounded and in a loving, we spend time in nature. And PSYCH-K, actually, one of the things that we'll learn is it's called the principles of nature, where we actually balance for and download 33 different statements about adaptability, flexibility, responsibility. It's amazing to learn and integrate the lessons that nature teaches us. How do we embody those? We use that in the PSYCH-K process as well. So that's from my little corner of the world. That's how I use the PSYCH-K balances to support my own health and well-being in terms of looking out at a world that isn't always easy to look at. And then to help the people that I'm so lucky to be able to work with to do that in their own lives as well. And also, this is popping into my head, to honor and listen to your intuition and your instincts too. So when you watch the animals when the tsunami came so I forget which country it was, a number of years, all of the elephants and all the animals left they went up into the mountains. But, the left brain goes, oh, well, silly animals, whatever, like we're going to do this. No, pay attention to what the world around you is saying, the natural world around is telling us. And so the thing PSYCH-K teaches as well is about action steps. Well, if I listen to my intuition and it's telling me, yeah, maybe it's time to do this or to do that, instead to honor that intuition. Like my intuition when I was riding Chiron across the river, it said, don't cross the river there. And I didn't listen to it. I overrode it with my left brain that said the instructor, the riding instructor, she knows the safest and best place to cross. But my gut told me, don't do that. And I did it anyway. And Chiron told me, no, I don't want to go in there, Sandra. And I said, come on, it's okay. We can do it. I didn't listen. And so the riding accident, the trauma of that. Even though it brought me great gifts, I would rather those gifts came in a gentler, easier way. So I think this how can we also survive and thrive in a world that's re-equilibrating right now? Bruce Lipton talks about, our beautiful dear friend Bruce Lipton talks about the next mass extinction, and metaphorically, but also practically speaking, this time where human nature is driving the world to a tipping point. And so what he's saying is that at some point we need to shift gears and to use our beliefs to be able to transform the old paradigm and to create something new, to create what he would call heaven on earth. And I think, he's just such a wise and gracious teacher and gentleman, and his science, but his spirit, like they're just come together in a way. So he's saying, yes, there's practical choices we need to be making. So, in fire season here, which seems like Canada's burning now every summer, it's just horrible. What are the practical things that we need to do to make sure that should a fire start, how do we keep things safe and in place? But then also spiritually or mindfully, it's like, okay, how do I also recognize and make choices and decisions according to the principles of nature that contribute to her well-being? I think that there's a responsibility and that we're not separate from nature. So how do we be in relationship with her? I think this is a lovely gift that PSYCH-K brings into our lives as well.
有没有一个信念在限制你呢？如果改变能既轻松又快速，你会迎来什么新的人生呢？关于导师的10月生肖工作坊详情，請見下方連結。
如果你都想體驗1對1嘅PSYCH-K諮詢，歡迎 DM 聯絡我。多謝你收睇，下一集再見。